This is the Vox Race Physicist. So this is an article from Vox.com that caught my eye because it is insane. And also a very good example of what I'm going to call ideological pollution. So it's where you take a topic, say physics, and just start ramming in your ideological biases until you can't find any more to put it in. And let's go through it. So, a physicist's lesson about race, power, and the universe. In her book, The Disordered Cosmos, black queer scientist Kendra Pescod-Weinstein argues that physics can be more universal. I don't know what the hell that means. Presumably she's like, we can allow more people to do physics. The physics department and the sciences in general are probably the least bigoted places on the planet, primarily because they're not infected with SJWism, frankly. Because, you know, they've gone through the reforms of, let's say, the 20th century, and then they haven't fallen into the pitfalls of being like, so this is the LGBT physics department, and this is the black physics department, and the white physics department.
Well, I'd be amazed if they were immune to all the, critical race theory and SJW nonsense, because they're in universities. Yeah, and universities are where all this stuff started.
In my experience, those specifically hard sciences have just been like, get the hell out. Like, we don't want you here. So, Prescott-Weinstein says that she realized Hawking was being paid to use math all day to solve problems Einstein hadn't worked out. For a black, queer, feminist kid from a working-class neighborhood who liked doing math, it seemed like a pretty good deal. Quote, that was really where I got my first taste of the idea that math is a kind of language of the universe, Prescott-Weinstein told me. She's now an assistant professor of physics and astronomy at the University of New Hampshire, where she studies dark matter and particle physics. She is also on the core faculty of the university's Women's Studies Department, a seemingly unusual combination that hints at the multifaceted approach she brings to her work. And I'm sure she's a joy to be lectured at on either of those topics. I bet that she keeps them very distinct. I bet when she's teaching you about, I don't know, let's say Fermi diagrams or whatever, she totally isn't just talking about how this is also sexist because there are straight lines or some crap like that.
Actually, I find the term dark matter quite problematic.
Oh, she does too.
Oh, really? I was joking, but
how did you find?
She actually comes onto that. Oh my God.
She thinks dark matter is black people. It's not.
Dark matters matter.
It's matter that we don't know about, and therefore it's dark. Because once we know about it, it's not dark matter, right?
Oh my God.
In 2021, Prescott-Weinstein published The Disordered Cosmos, A Journey into Dark Matter, Space-Time and Dreams Deferred, a wide-ranging book that is both scientific explainer and an argument that unjust power structures shape the world of physics. Shove that in, why don't you? Well, we're looking at dark matter, and you're like, yeah, by the way, racism. She tells stories of subatomic particles, like baryons, which are the building blocks of atoms. She critiques a trend she's seen in which writers compare the mystery and invisibility of dark matter to the lived experiences of black people. What? Like, what the hell are you talking about, lady? Yeah. I mean, for starters, writers that she's seen, I don't name them. In a chapter called Rape is Part of This Scientific Story. What? What? A chapter that grew unexpectedly out of her writing on the dark universe, and that she debated including in the book. She writes about her own experience of sexual assault that shaped her understanding of injustices in her field. That is a really weird stretch. She was sexually assaulted whilst studying physics. I presume that's what that sentence is meant to mean. And therefore, rape is part of this field.
I mean, could this be extended to all crimes?
Yeah, so like murder is part of the scientific process.
Somebody breaks into your car, it becomes part of injustices in the world of physics.
Part of chemistry, vehicle theft. Makes no sense. Okay, what was I expecting from a race physicist, I suppose? I recently asked Prescott-Weinstein about being one of the few black women in her field, how concepts from physics apply to our lives. You know where she's going to go with that. And why dark matter is a complicated metaphor. Oh, God. Early in your book, you write that particle physics continues to teach you that, quote, the universe is always more bizarre and more wonderfully queer than we think. How do you see queerness in the universe?
As the universe has got a sexuality now.
She's a professor.
Also, this queerness thing, because loads of comedians are describing themselves as queer now, but they haven't had any same-sex experience. They're just doing it to try and be a bit more interesting.
I think that's the funniest thing about people who describe themselves as queer. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, does it mean you're gay? Because we could just say gay.
I mean,
no, it's something. So what is it?
it means you want to hint at that stuff around you, but you don't actually want to suck a dick. That is basically what it means.
That's one interpretation. To me, it just seems
I've
like
got no time for that. Like,
everyone seems
if
to have
you're
their
gonna
own
lecture me
definition.
on queer theory, at least like suck a dick or have some same-sex action. Then I'll take you seriously. You know what I mean?
when you become a dad.
And I want to see Polaroids. I want to see. I'm not taking your word for it. I want to see Polaroids and videos.
Well, there you have it. Where do they find you? What's your email? So we're gonna
Actually,
look.
somebody tried to scam me on Bumble. Dating app.
What with? Well, I've got pictures of your cock.
Yeah,
Seriously?
yeah. They asked for pictures of my dick, and I was like, "Here you go." And then,
Is that a scam?
and then, because she had my phone number, because we'd moved to WhatsApp, and she sent me screenshots of all my contacts on Facebook. And she's like, "I'm gonna," because she get my Facebook account from my phone number or whatever. She's like, "I'm gonna send like these pictures to everyone in your contacts list." And I was like, "Yeah, do it."
Not if I send it to them first.
I was like, "No, well, I can't. If I do it, it's a crime. If you send it, I'm a victim." And I'm not joking. That is the best picture of my dick that's ever. I'm not sending out a picture of my dick where it looks bad. That like my
Right.
dick, like just got it right.
So you
one
were
of those
really
days-
proud. You really wanted to send it to all your friends.
One
on
of those
Facebook.
days you just got peak boner,
Wait,
and
crap.
it's just an extra, inch longer, and just so shiny, and like the lights just glinting off it just right. It looked amazing.
Just checking if you've added me on Facebook yet. Oh, crap, you have. Okay. Well, I disavow whoever has those pictures. Please don't.
Yeah. No, well, they refused to. In the end, I ended up like pleading with them to send it out because I wanted everybody to see that picture of my dick. So,
Right.
they refused. Anyway, back to racist physics.
Back to the queerness of the universe,
Yeah.
which includes somewhere in there your dick pics. So she asked,
My
where do
dicks
you
are
see
part of the universe?
where do you see queerness in the universe? And at which point, I'm just wondering for like our poor students who had to go through modules with her, trying to teach them stuff.
But all these students will be like, yeah.
It is the United States.
God, I hope there's a war soon.
She says, "Yeah, I think the universe is weird, man." So I want a professor to talk. "There are so many things about it that are counterintuitive. What we do in science is exist at the boundary of what humanity understands about the universe, and you try to push that boundary forward. And that means living in a place where things are not known, and that means being confused and asking a lot of questions. So science is really a practice of asking questions." What the hell does this have to do with queerness?
Yeah, well, she says queerness
It's-
is just like that. Queerness is living at the boundary of what is known
Exactly.
and unknown. But I think it's all known.
But hang on, what does that even
If it's
mean?
not known, I can show you like
She just-
categories on Pornhub that will explain everything. Like Netflix even makes shows for children about it. I don't think any of this stuff is unknown.
But also, like, in her definition, she's defining it as unknown and saying that's basically science, because in the first paragraph, she says that we don't know things in science, and also we don't know things about queerness. Therefore, universe kind of queer.
Yeah. yeah,
Like,
yeah.
This is a professor. This is a professor of physics, is it? Right. Continuing with her statement.
So
there.
anything that's slightly unknown or
Is queer.
exists at the boundaries of something is queer.
Yeah,
Right?
atomic physics, kind of
That's
queer.
a bit of a reach.
Just every study, queer.
Yeah.
There is a certain understandings of queerness that in 2021 seem antiquated. And similarly, there were scientific ideas back in the 2000s that we now know better. Therefore, queer. We know that the mass of a Higgs boson, what is now, we did not know that in 2000. So I think there is a real way in which queerness and science can track each other. Therefore, what I don't know is queer. So the Higgs boson was queer,
But now it's not.
now it's not queer.
Now it's straight.
Now it's queerphobic or
Now it's cisgender.
This is a actual professor. You write a lot about invisibility, literally in the case of dark matter, and metaphorically when it comes to the contributions of women, non-binary folks, and people of color in the field of physics. At one point, you write about physicists who draw a comparison between dark matter and the lived experiences of black people. Can you tell me a bit about that? I would want to know about that too. She says, "I literally have this chapter called Black People Are Luminous Matter." What are you doing with your life? Did you not think when you were writing that title, you might have been wasting it? You might have been finding other ways to waste your life in more confusing ways than most people have. I have a very clear agenda, I'm sure you do, that I wanted to hit home. We're not magical Negroes, she says.
Would that, I mean,
She continues, "We feel pain."
but this isn't scientific advancement. Like, I think people already knew that black people weren't magic
What did you do last
and
year?
they feel pain because they're just people, but just with a different skin color.
Two physicists walk into a bar. What did you do? Last year I found the weight of a Higgs boson. What did you do? I found out that magical Negroes don't exist. Right, this is what you do. She says, we feel pain. We feel pain just as much as white people do, despite a widespread belief from medical students and doctors.
What?
She's
Wait,
arguing,
I've never seen this in any NHS guidance. You've never been like, oh, by the way, here's the different amount of paracetamol you use based on skin color. Actually, redhead people do feel pain slightly differently.
Well, because you keep punching them. Just
no, but that's why a lot of redhead women are into S&M.
So he says, is there a better metaphor to be found in physics? I don't know why you're looking for a better one. That was already absolute garbage, and I don't think it's going to get much better. Also, why are you looking for racism in the study of physical reality? As just a get-go in all this? Yeah. Vox Journo? I mean, we know why. You've got an agenda. As she said, she has an agenda as well. She responds, yeah, if you really want a cosmic analogy for race and racism, weak gravitational lensing is much more useful.
Instead of dark matter?
No, that was a bit trash, according to her. So we're going to look at gravitational lensing instead.
So weak gravitational lensing.
We're going to find out real racism from the telescope. Essentially, one of the big lessons of general relativity is that space-time tells matter how to move, and matter tells space-time how to curve. So when you have matter in space-time, say the sun, the space-time is being distorted by the presence of that matter. Your space-time is actually bending. If you get a lot of dark matter together, it can bend light as though it has gone through a funhouse mirror. The light looks like it is coming from one place when it's actually coming from another. And there's a whole bunch of other garbage, to say jargon there that I'm not going to waste people's time with because we're running out of time anyway. And she goes on to argue that you can see this is when you're a black Jew, like her. Quote, I've been a black Jew around white Jews. It's very easy to be like, are you sure that you're that white Jewish professor you're asking if you're really Jewish? It is because you're black. So she's asking if a white professor says to you, are you really Jewish because you're black? And she's like, yes, but I don't know what that has to do with gravitational lensing. But get a bunch of black Jews together and talk to them about their experiences, and you're like, we've all seemed to experience the same distortion and how people think it's okay to talk to us. That's systemic. It becomes a lot harder to deny when there's systemic pictures there.
This is the thing, when you call something systemic, it makes it impossible to deny or really sort of do, like, if systemic is, so there's, like, if you see somebody being racist, actually racist, like shouting abuse or, doing something horrible, then you can say that person is being racist. These are the objective reasons that person is racist. If something's systemic, then it's sort of unmeasurable because you're sort of saying it's in the essence of the institutions.
But also, did you follow any of that example she's giving? Is this the simpler example of what she was giving before?
I switched off some time ago because
it was crap. It was all crap.
Yeah. I was just amazed they're going through. Oh, it's Vox.
Yeah, but there's a reason.
I thought this was like Scientific American or something. I was like, why are they speaking? No. Why are they taking it so seriously?
She is a real professor, though. She actually does teach physics and women's studies.
Vox is absolute garbage.
There's a reason I read all that crap that she blurted out, because it makes the point that this is clearly ideological pollution, but we'll try and put it in simpler language. So if you go to the next one, so this is an example of gravitational lensing. So I don't know, if you can scroll down, John, there should be two images, and I want you to get up one of those images. So there should be one more here, if you keep scrolling, please. That one on the right there, please. So this is an example of gravitational lensing. So you can see the sun and then the gravitational lensing around it of a galaxy behind it. So the light gets bended around the sun.
Yeah.
And therefore, this shows how black people find systemic racism in their lives.
What?
I don't know what the hell she's talking about.
I mean, maybe because physics is quite complicated now, so maybe that's why we don't understand.
Or she's a goddamn lunatic trying to insert ideology into a field that doesn't need it. Yeah. There is no racism or analogy for racism in gravitational lensing.
Yeah.
You're just a fucking weirdo. And this, I think, can be called ideological pollution. It just isn't necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in a discussion like this about a physical reality. And so I thought I'd look her up just really quickly. Let's have a look at what else she does with her life. And so I went to Twitter. So if we go to the next one, she blocked me.
What?
I'd never interacted with her.
Oh my god!
Didn't even know she existed.
Wait, what's she called?
Justice for Julius.
God, how am I going to find her?
No idea. But I'm blocked, so okay.
Let me see if I'm blocked.
So I also just looked up what else she does with her time on the internet. We go to the next one. You can see. So this is what she does. She invites you to a seminar in which her mother, and her grandmother will be talking about feminism. This is what she's doing with her university's time. literally hanging around with her own family, bitching about men. Very good. You're literally a family of activists. Could you be more useless? Let's move on. Let's go to her
As
blog.
part of the University of Toronto.
This is her blog. Particles for Justice. Strike for Black Lives. This is also just full of insane crap, as you can imagine. Amazing. She says, it was time for the particle physics community to be dragged into the 21st century. While we may be on the leading edge of asking and answering questions about foundational physics, the important thing about particle physics is the foundations of physics, right? Okay, you got that.
Yeah.
We may be on the edge of doing that. However, the particle physics community remains intensively white and male. That's the problem. We may be answering the questions, but we are quite white and male.
Yeah.
Not just demographically, but also culturally. I mean that unstated expectations of how we will behave and ways we are expected to speak conform to whiteness. You mean do your bloody job. That's what she's whining about. Just be normal. Stop going off about black queer theory about the black holes, and instead tell me about the black holes. Moron. And if we have a next quote from her here, so this is the last thing. If we go to the last thing, yeah, please. Which is this is what she got an award for. So this is part of her like I'm so good, the LGBT plus physics award. What does LGBT plus have to do with physical reality, Leo?
Well, so the rainbow is made from the diffraction of light, or is it refraction? No, it's diffraction. I don't know.
think the rainbow's gay, though.
They split. No, the rainbow is gay. It's on the flag.
Gay.
That's why it's on the flag.
Right.
Although they had to add black and brown stripes to it because it didn't represent the skin colours of black gay people.
You know how the yellow did before.
Red. Well, exactly. They've got those, and they had some blue. Obviously, was a skin color that's represented. So gay Smurfs were represented, but black because the rainbow flag.
Black people weren't, and it was very bad.
Yeah, it was very bad.
They give their reasoning for giving her this award for LGBT physics. I mean, we are literally turning into the position of we are going to segregate all the different groups, aren't we? They say she was given this award for educating and holding to account many physicists on issues of race. They don't talk about race. Race is not part of their study, but okay. Including multiple of us within the LGBT plus physicists, co-chairing the annual meeting of the National Society of Black Physicists and the National Society of Hispanic Physicists, and is a founding member of AAS Committee on Sexual Orientation and Gender Minorities in Astronomy. Could you get a more a large example of someone missing the entire point of the gold standard of science, which is that we don't care about where you come from. Can you do the damn job?
Yeah.
Can you find the truth?
The objective, measurable, repeatable truth. That's what it's about. That's what they're looking for.
This is why STEM has gotten that, glowing halo of actually worthwhile around all of its subjects, because, well, they just find the truth. They're not there like the humanities are, especially in the United States, to sit around and talk about black queer feminism. Yeah. No, they're too busy doing stuff.
Yeah.
And no, apparently in the United States, this culture has now seeped into STEM, specifically in physics here, in which we're now going to start segregating off the different groups and inserting this crap into it. There you are. There's the race physicist, the future of physics.
Makes me think that the wrong side won in the war with ISIS. Okay, what is...
Allahu Akbar. MI5, I'm only joking. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go over to lotuseaters.com to subscribe to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as this video, which is Contemplations, that went up over the weekend about why the mainstream media are terrible and are bad for you. But if you'd like to keep up with what else is coming out on the website, you can always follow us on Getter. So you could go, for example, to see more from Josh at Josh's Getter account here at Josh_firm. Thank you and goodbye.